Hi, good evening. Good day, I should say. I'd like to talk today about the evil eye. This guy right here. Now, the eye has been made to basically see what's in front of us. It sees the physical world, but there's another set of eyes that we have as human beings, and some people refer to it. The eye is a window to the soul. Jesus said that the eye is a lamp of the body. If your eye be good, your whole body will be filled with light. There was a scripture where Jesus basically gave a nice list. Well, I should say a nice list, and a list of what comes from the heart. And he says these things defile the man. And one of the mentioned in the list was the evil eye. Evil eye. Throughout history, with different traditions, superstitions, um, based on a lot upon fact, because people tried and true, people have come to realize in their cultures, in their nations, practices going on behind the scene that they don't are not aware of. They're going about their business. Terrible things happen to them after someone looked at them. They've done things like they've created amulets to ward off the evil eye. Some people have it that you don't know who's really looking at you and what are the intents behind the stare. People who like to stare are are either curious, and there's an interesting thing about a curious stare, because it's the kind of stare that's well mannered. You don't go beyond the boundaries of what is being stared at. It's okay to stare at nature, even, yeah, but like with people in general, certain stares in other cultures they think it's normal to stare people down. Go figure. In normal civilized cultures, it's rude to stare. Totally rude. The evil eye was has the affiliation to having the green-eyed monster, meaning that envy is behind that eye. When someone says they have an evil eye, they have a something that they want from you, or they're jealous of you. Evil eye is very synonymous. It walks hand in hand with covetousness and vengefulness. It is very upset that you're here and they're here. They don't like that. So competition comes into it also. Evil eye, when found, especially wrong family, is it's a little more complex, a little more of a how can I put, a survival game, because we really want to believe the best of others. We want to believe that we're safe, especially in a family dynamics, family culture, the familiar culture within the family. And when the evil eye is presented at anywhere, at any point within the interactions you have with the people you know, certain things begin to happen to you as a human being. For one thing, your back goes up. You begin to build a suspiciousness, a unsafe version of reality, and also quite a carefulness that can move on into the future, into your life as an adult. And the one thing about an evil eye, in many sense of the word, it is usually pretty dangerous. From what I discovered, is not only where a person is looking at you, when they give you the stare, there's that stare. It's a very dangerous stare, because you feel violated by it. It just makes your back go up. You feel violated by it. And it's very aggressive. It can be really, really aggressive. The majority of the times, I'm going to go back a little bit. When Lucifer fell from heaven, he began to eye God. Now God said to him, "You were perfect in all of your ways until iniquity was found in you." The two things that obviously went on with the word iniquity was, one, he became rather jealous. He had an evil eye for God. And secondly, pride took hold of him. Because when you place yourself in any situation that you think you deserve, what is now rightfully yours, where it's not your position, you haven't been positioned for it. Normal people usually kind of go along their life and they accept certain things about themselves, and they put in the necessary actions to make better of their lives, but they don't go about being jealous and competitive and angry that so and so has this and oh, I can't I. Especially when so and so comes in an environment and they begin to know I so and so, when this person over here, the nice person, didn't do anything to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a free world. You can live however you want, right? But not so with the jealous eye. No, they got some kind of a toddler thing going with them. They just kind of think that, well, it's unfair, whatever the case may be, right? It's a whole psychological mumbo jumbo behind why they are the way they are. One of the seriousness about it, because they resemble and they mimic a lot of the nature of the wicked one, demonic spirits can easily find their way into this person's life. Because then that person's stare becomes malicious. And the malice is very dangerous because there's two words of jealous and envious. And some people have said that jealousy is a little bit more of a lighter. It's kind of like you can be jealous of somebody, like going, "Oh, you got more than me," blah blah blah. But envy is more dangerous. Envy has the thing of the knife, you know. It's a little bit more calculated, and much more aware of what it's doing. Now, when as I said earlier, the window is the eye to the eye is the window. The eye is the window to the soul. Is that when a soul has been invaded and persuaded to allow the entry of demonic spirits, there's other people beside that person that will stare at you. And I don't know if you've had this, if I mean, sure, to some level of degree, unless you're the person with the evil eye. I'm assuming a lot of people are pretty good natured. They just been kind of live and let live. They do whatever they take to make their lives better, and they don't have time to compare and struggle along an ego and get all stupid in life. They just they're generally good, nice people to be around. You feel safe with them, right? The envious person, when they come into the environment, they change the environment. They really do. They can cause a lot of things to go wrong on a metaphysical level. I've experienced where on quite a few instances. One where I was doing working this tiller on this ground, and this person who I sensed that he had the evil eye, the jealous eye. As he was coming down the stairs, he looked at me whilst I was doing what I was doing, and that tiller went off. And it literally grabbed onto the fence that he built, right? It didn't really do much damage, hardly any. But it gave him the opportunity to come over and, oh, you need to be more careful. And I've had that happen quite a few times. There really are literal jinx. They're blights. It's serious. It is such an ugly, evil, mold-driven mold. It has the ability to corrupt and to corrosive, whatever it's staring at, the object, the end part of the eye. It stares at it, and it can cause a lot of harm. There was an experiment done years ago about the double slit theory. You should look it up, where they had the electrons flying along. They put a guy, and they had the guy stare in the path of the electrons, and as he stared, called the observer, the electrons basically, instead of flying their path normally and doing what they're supposed to do, they became confused, messed up. When the evil eye shows up in your environment in a body suit, with eyes, with arms and legs, and a voice that you have become familiar with, or most of the times that's what it is. They they really do have the ability. They can actually upturn. They could change your financial environment too, dependent upon the level of whatever the subject of the jealousy is. They could change that. Um, I can't go on in a large sense, but I'm just going to give an example. If they're jealous of your house, for instance, and you're doing just all fine, all of a sudden you start having break-ins in a neighborhood, and it starts getting close to your home. Funny metaphysical stuff. I had one time I bought a brand new vehicle, and I told somebody I know. I knew this person has jealousy. A big mistake. Not a thing you don't do. You gotta go stealth. Don't talk to these people. Once you get to know them, and you will. You will. And now, one surefire way you'll know them is when you're talking to them and they shift. Something happens in their eyes. Something happens the way their tone, the way they're talking to you. They're also referred to as frenemies, friends who are enemy, whether it be a brother, sister, mother, father, friend, business associate, the guy in a bus sitting beside you. You don't even know. You're going about your business. Look, man, when you're shining, you're shining. Jesus says, let your light show shine before men. Don't hide it. Evil eye people don't have light. How can you have light? He says, if the eye of the body is a lamp, and if its eye be good, your whole body will be filled with light. If the eye is bad, there's no way light is going to be in there. It's going to be a dark. And darkness, it's like you're blocking out the sun. The sun comes sunshine and vitamin D and all that, good things. In a spiritual world, they don't have no sunshine. And they're shade. They got to be in the shade. That's why they're called shady. They throw shade at you. All of these things are examples of jealousy, the evil eye. Now, what is really serious about the evil eye is that once they've set you as a target, you will find in different scenarios it becomes too much to ignore it as just simple coincidence. They will show up at times when you're about to do something good. They'll get a text out of nowhere when you're actually starting to move. Your life force is starting to move in a higher level vibrations. They call it, or frequency. These people come along, poof. They're like a stealth bomber. Boom, boom. And they drop you down. And where the weakness is of those who don't believe or subscribe to the evil eye, the biggest weakness they have is being nice and tolerating it. And Jesus says, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. I've come to create separation between a man and his family and with friends and so on. And the reason why he did that, because there is a divide and line between light and darkness. There is no fellowship between light and darkness. So I'm just going to end this video with saying this. However, whomever, wherever, and hopefully it's not you looking in the mirror. If it's needed to be confessing before God, or if people you notice that have it in them who are in your life, be very careful and make it your first option every single day to pray to God Almighty to protect you from the evil eye. Do you know in the Bible it says in Psalm 91 that he basically covers me and he prevents the arrows that fly by day. They have done studies, the way the brain waves work. They've discovered movements of information, neurons. Even with eyes, they've had eyes, and the eyes they call darts. They look just like darts coming out, right? You want to make sure that whomever you're talking to, wherever you are, you want to make sure you have a gentle eye in your transaction, not an evil eye. Have a good day, okay? And do subscribe. And yes, and like also. And I'd like to bring some more. I'm definitely going to bring some more videos on a lot of these topics because I believe the majority of our situations and problems in our lives are transitional because of transactions. Okay? Take care.